Free Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers. It's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
This is Councilman Kaz Potowski, and my cohort here, DJ, is on his way from the city of non-brotherly love, Pittsburgh. How do we call it? The city of bridges? But he'll be here shortly, hopefully, and once again, feel free to call in with any of your concerns, complaints, comments, whatever, and we're here to answer them, and hopefully, get you some resolution. As we head into this week, of course, we're getting ready for our budget sessions, which will be starting this Wednesday, and should be interesting. We have a balanced budget to deal with, and we got a new administration coming in. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, I just want to ask you, Kaz, I gave a paper to Lori to see if you got that paper from Lori. I gave Lori some papers because they had a meeting at Friendship Apartments.
Mm-hmm.
And they had, I gave her the paper for that. We had a meeting about a grocery store, getting a grocery store in the downtown area.
Yeah, when was that meeting?
We had a meeting at Friendship Apartments. People came from downtown. I don't know, and we talked about that.
What day was that?
I don't know. It was one day last week.
Oh, okay. When did you give it to Lori? Just recently?
Just this morning I did.
Oh, okay. I just come in, so I didn't even have a chance to talk to Lori. I'll get it from her.
All right. So how was your weekend?
Not bad. It was pretty good, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
The grocery store, I think, is that the one they're talking about in the bus station?
I don't know, but we told her about that too.
You're in favor of it, right?
Yeah, I'm in favor of it.
I think what they have planned, at least when I was talking to Mr. Buckner,
yeah,
when I had him on the show, I know the bus company's looking at one in their center there when they get done. When they get done with the whole project, they'll probably have they're looking at a grocery store there, and there are plans to have one down at the GAF property, farmers market type of arrangement. So I'm sure there'll be something downtown.
Yeah.
And I think you need one if you're going to have people, they're talking about in the future having people, living down there more.
The one guy said they'll probably get a lot of business in the downtown area.
Well, I think they would. You got. First of all, when I went to Gannon many years ago, the kids that stayed here out of town, they used to shop at. Remember State Street Food Market?
Yeah.
And then you had the other one over by the Boston store. What was that? Was that Voss? Or I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
There was two of them downtown, and they both. Well, plus you had Bellows. Remember?
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there is a market down here between the people that live here now, the people that they're going to try to get to live here, and I think
there is a vacant building right next to where in the same building the Rite Aid is. You get the Rite Aid, and then you have that other vacant building there.
Yeah, I don't know what size they want though. That's the question.
Yeah.
The one that they're talking about in the bus station sounds like it's going to be pretty good size.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be, like some of the stores in the suburbs, but
yeah,
it doesn't have to be.
No, but like when I talked to one of the mechanics, he said that he said don't quote me on it. He said he heard that were going to put sheets in there.
Well, that's possible. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna, what they have to do is they have to market it. I mean, we can sit here and hope that we're gonna see everything in the world we'd like.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's gonna be, can they make money when they come here, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think if the farmer's market happens down by the waterfront,
Yeah.
that, if you ever been to farmers markets, like out of town,
Yeah, they sell fruit and that.
yeah, that could be nice. You have like little booths, you know, people come in from, like all over the place, you know, Meadville, Sagertown, you have, people from Northeast,
Yeah.
people from Chautauqua, you know, whoever wants to sell their goods there, you know.
Yeah. And another thing, I heard in the spring they're gonna demolish the viaduct.
Well, that's the schedule right now. I mean, that's been no secret, that.
I know, and they're pushing it to keep it there, though.
Yeah, there's two theories of thought, and, you know, at the end of the day, I have to vote on what I think is best for the majority of people. I mean, I wanted to keep that bridge. I did. It's
no better than me if they keep it.
Well, you know, I think a lot of people wanted to see it kept as both pedestrian and motor, you know.
Right.
And that's not going to happen.
No.
And, you know, unless something happens drastically,
Yeah.
you know, right now the government is funding 95% of the project outside, when I mean government, outside of the city of Erie.
Right.
And, you know, the money's there to do, and there's some other improvements that are tied in with that removal.
Because I heard a rumor they were gonna, on the Bayfront, they were gonna widen this sidewalk.
There's a lot of, we're on the Bayfront, you mean?
Where, you know, you got the viaduct, and then you got the Bayfront Bridge here.
You mean the Bayfront Highway?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some improvements along there too.
Yeah.
You can go on the website and they have the drawing there. And then, indirectly, also related, not related directly, but
Right.
when they get done with that, the Buffalo Road project
Yeah.
is going to be, started. That's going to be the one where we put, you'll be able to both access and also egress off of the Bayfront Highway on Buffalo Road.
Right.
And then there's going to be some pedestrian updates
Yeah.
up there so that we're going to try to get it so the kids don't cross the highway
Right.
behind the Burger King.
Right. I know what you're saying there. Yeah.
So there's a lot going down on that highway
Yeah.
that's all kind of related, even though there's separate projects there.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I know the state has it earmarked for probably early next year.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
there's still a couple things that have to be done,
Right.
and it's a work in progress, but it's progressing.
Right. I like to see them put a bridge on underpass on Green Garden near underpass.
Wow, you mean under the railroad tracks?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be. I don't think you're going to. You know, right now I don't think you're going to see too much of that.
No.
The state doesn't have the money. They talked about.
Right.
They've talked about some underpasses in different places.
Yeah.
One time before 911, they actually talked about putting, what road was that? Powell Avenue under the runway.
Yeah.
And they've done that in other towns, but now with 911, they don't like doing that because
Right.
they don't, in case of God forbid, somebody would try to take the airport out, they would not, and people go, well, why would they take Erie out? Well, if something happened to Cleveland, Buffalo, or Pittsburgh, Erie would be a backup.
Right.
So, they're afraid of, right now they don't like tunneling, and tunneling is expensive.
A tunnel is expensive.
Yeah, although I think you're going to see, they're working on now how to deal with the State Street, Bayfront Road
Right.
intersection. That does have some built-in tunnels right now, from the railroad.
Right.
So, I mean, that's another area that, the Commonwealth's going to be working on. So, yeah, there's a lot of things coming down.
And another thing, you know talking about putting in, though.
No, you don't, and I tell you, it's a disappointment that, as you remember, Erie was left off of it, remember?
Right.
I think the high speed was going to go to Buffalo.
Right.
And I think it was going to pick up on the other side of Cleveland.
Right.
But we were eliminated.
Right.
And then you got this project now where they're talking about, and I don't understand it, they're talking about hyperlinks, where they can ship things through like pneumatic tubes like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, before we start laughing at such things,
Right.
you know, it wasn't too long ago that they were talking about cars without drivers too, you know.
Yeah, I know. I saw that on TV. I think that's unsafe.
Hey, well, you know what? Someday right now, I'm not so sure I want to buy into it.
Right.
But I think someday they'll have the technology that, you know, it'll just be every day, you know. Well, like pilots, they fly now with automatic a lot of times in the aircraft.
And you know, I was watching the national news a while back. They came out with a electric semi, tractor and trailer.
Electric.
Yeah, it's all electric. It runs off of a battery.
Well, you know, that's a good idea. The trouble they can't.
To 500 miles.
Well, see, that's the problem. They're trying to work out batteries where they can make it worthwhile, like in your car.
Right.
How far can you travel before you have to put a jump on it, you know?
Right.
If they get the technology where you can travel pretty far.
That
Yeah.
would be nice.
Well, yeah, it save on fuel. Of course, that's not going to make the people in Texas happy,
No.
or Oklahoma, or Louisiana.
Don't we get our oil from Iran?
We get it from the Mideast, but we have some here too, you know.
Yeah.
And then you got the Alaskan pipeline and all that, and
Right.
oil's a big business. So I mean,
Yeah.
but you know, the idea of electric cars, if they could get them to run properly,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, where you could run long distance and.
They got some electric cars now, but you can't go very far with it, and you have to charge it up.
Yeah, they got. I was up at. They have some charging stations up there behind Cracker Barrel in that hotel. If you drive up there, you'll see the charging stations on the side, like.
Yes. Yeah, but how long will it take for you to charge a battery if you hook it up there?
I'm not sure. I never talked to anybody who had one.
Right.
But I would think, probably would take a couple of hours, maybe. You would think.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody has the answer out there, you know.
Right. And I was going to mention, I was at the Rite Aid drugstore this morning. I ran into one of the ladies that works up at the Y.
Yeah.
Street. I mentioned it to her about putting a handicap thing in for so we can get in and out of the place.
Did you talk to the big head?
No, I talked to the one lady that used to work at the wellness center.
Okay.
She said they were talking about it, but
I know. You and I are going to have, like I said, after the holiday, we'll talk to her, and we'll see if they got a plan to do it, you know.
right.
But I think, you bring up a valid point. They got to have some way to get you in there, you know.
Right.
Either from the back side, the front side, somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, because even other people in wheelchairs can't go there if they want to, because they can't get in.
Yep, that's true.
All right.
Hey, thanks for calling.
I'll leave you go.
Yep, and we'll see you. Have a good, you'll see us next week before the holiday.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
All right.
Keep pushing that grocery store, though.
Yep, all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, we've been talking about a grocery store downtown, and I think when you consider the plans they got. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, it's DJ.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm still on 79. I'm headed there, but I wanted to say I heard you talking. I think that was John.
Yeah.
About the electric cars. What we have.
Oh, that wasn't John. That was Mr. Mucci.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, about electric cars, it's the same thing that happened with gas-based cars. Once you start using them and everybody's using them, they get better. It's going to take time, time, and we can't wait for them to be perfect. We're going to have to get them out there and work on them.
I think they got them out there, but, I think they're looking at, like where he was talking about trucks. A trucker's time is money, so.
Yeah, they definitely got to get the trucks going, but with the way the technology is getting so much lighter and so much easier to work with, we're going to be able to have it. We just have to get everything on the road now that we can, and we're going to have to tell the oil companies to deal with it. That's basically that.
That's easier said than done with the oil companies.
Yeah, the oil companies, we're going to run out of oil at some point, so we need to get these cars going and get them on the road. The other thing I wanted to talk about was, let's say I wanted to buy the viaduct. I'm going to buy the viaduct from the city. Let's say we settle on some amount.
Right.
What would be, after I paid for that to the city for whatever amount, what would be my fiscal responsibility in terms of insurance?
Well, that'd be the real question, is you'd have to sit down with the group and decide, who's going to be responsible for what, but you'd have to have liability. Right now, the city has it under their liability policy, okay?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, you have to work out the arrangements of who would be providing the insurance. Would the city want to keep it? That'd be a decision up to the administration and the council.
Yeah.
Or would the people that took over the bridge, a nonprofit, would they assume the liability and have to take out a policy?
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm on my cell phone. Is there already a set price? I mean, what do we pay for liability?
Well, it's kind of, ours is, we're self-insured. And that's a concept that, I don't know if you can put a number on the McBride Viaduct, but we carry an insurance policy against all liabilities. So it's, to work out that specific detail would probably be something you might have to, sit down and look at all your numbers and factor in what we think is a fair figure for it. Because we don't, self-insured means we basically put some money aside.
Yeah.
And we have an administrator, and, sometimes if we come up short, well, then we have to, come up with money from another source. But self-insured means we basically are taking care of any liability issues ourselves.
Sure. I was just wondering if there was a ballpark figure.
I'd have to check with somebody if they could even work that out like that,
Yeah, because we'd hate to go to the state or the government, the federal, and say, hey, well, we don't need the 95% of that money. We're not tearing it down. We don't want to do that, I know, at this point. But if somebody came up with some money and opted to actually just buy the thing.
Yeah, because it's even like with our health insurance, it's based on experience, okay?
Yeah,
and,
all right.
And you can't really say, how much is one guy's case going to be, So,
yeah, I'm going to let you go and listen some more. I should be there in the next 10.
Okay, take your time. Don't get any trouble on there.
No tickets. All right, talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Getting back to the grocery store, it's an interesting concept there we go. Go ahead, caller.
Good afternoon.
We were waiting for that docile golden tone.
Oh, you were, huh?
Yeah, why? I get your emails. They're pretty.
Like them?
Yeah, some of them aren't bad.
Well, that one character has all that stuff about Erie. It's just, you got to get a great big video of it, and it's quite interesting. But the reason why I called, I went through your agenda for Wednesday.
Yeah.
I see you're going to rob CBG money again and pay off a lot of various departments. I know you call it a transfer, but I thought CBG money was supposed to go to places and buildings, not your expenditures for the previous year.
I didn't even look at that yet. I haven't checked it.
Very interesting to look at.
Well, let me look it up, because I usually don't look at the agenda. It comes out late in the week.
Well, it's out now, but you take a peek at it.
Yeah, well, I'll give you a call at home, but.
And I see that you have a councilman who's going to make an appointment to the EMTA, or whatever you want to call it now, and Witherspoon's going to make one. There are appointments that I know they volunteer for and all that.
Yeah.
Don't expire till 2022. Why the rush? Let the new council decide on some of these people.
Well, here's the old question. We go through this all the time, okay?
The whole question is, who will volunteer their time?
Well, I mean, the appointments, right now we're getting pressured from a couple of the groups that they're having trouble having quorums, to conduct business.
I understand that, but you got to look at the whole picture.
What if the theory is, though, we're going to get into the argument of Obama and the Supreme Court, okay?
I'm listening.
Now, do you agree that if you set this precedent, it's a very dangerous one? Are we saying now that a sitting councilman or a sitting mayor with less than, let's say, 6 months should not do nothing?
No.
But I think that's what a lot of people are saying. I mean, these appointments.
And your perspective of this, but.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking this way. You can wait till the new year, okay?
True.
And that's going to take a while, or the appointments traditionally have gone to, I mean, they've always given them out, and they've had like about a month now, some of these people, and we're getting under pressure to make the appointments because we can't even run certain meetings.
Well, even when their appointees it doesn't expire till 2022.
You mean, some of them are like 4-year terms or 2-year terms?
Well, some of them don't expire till 2022.
Right.
What's the rush? You want to get your man in before you get out of office? Is that what it is?
No, just the way, I mean, this has been going on now for the last 3 months, and they've been warned to make the appointments because they want everything in place, for the next year. They don't want, sometimes we can't even conduct meetings because we don't have enough people.
Yeah, but
so, I mean,
I'm trying to get across to you that they don't expire till 2022.
That's true, but
2018 it will be.
Okay, so I'll give you the Obama one. Ready?
Go ahead.
Did Obama have the right to pick a Supreme Court judge or not?
Oh, I think he did.
But by your logic, because it would.
Yeah, but my logic was the Supreme Court judge wasn't still sitting on the bench. These people are still in their position that they volunteered.
Well, some are, but some are empty positions, or people haven't attended meetings.
Well, these ones in your agenda name specifically the people who are in them, and their terms don't expire till 2022. Named, so they are already on.
I guess we will agree or disagree that it's all. Do you think new people should do it, or the people that are in there that that's?
Well, that's the whole thing.
We've always done the appointments.
But where I'm saying, the new people coming in will not have anything to do with these appointments. They're already there.
Yeah, but
it's not new people coming in.
But what we do, John, is like right now is.
That's like trying to close the door after the horse is left.
Well, we're gonna lose Dave Brennan and Curtis Jones.
True, and the only one I've seen in the agenda is Dave Brennan and Witherspoon.
But there's a whole list that I have.
Well,
that as I look at them, I'm trying, as president, I'm reassigning the picks so that everybody's represented equally like we intended. And the way it worked, it always has been, is that unlike when I was on the school board, which was kind of hit and miss, here you earn your position. They try to rotate it, and sometimes you have to wait. Like I had to wait 3 years, John, before I had my first pick.
Well, you should do what JT does and nominate yourself as president again, because you got the whole grips of it, and you know where it's coming from.
Yeah, but you know what?
I know what you're going to say, but that's not right. Pat went nuts because of it. You remember that?
Yep.
So, well, that's beyond the door. But we'll get off that now. I have been noticing we're seeing signs in the city right-of-ways.
You mean for sale signs, like?
No, for help.
Oh, you mean help wanted and stuff?
Have you been seeing them?
Yep.
I mean, what's wrong with our streets department, our parks department? Can't they do double duty and pull them out?
You would think. I mean,
The city's starting to look like a garbage town.
Maybe what I should talk to them about is, this will bring it to a head, is they should deputize, councilmen and everybody, and we'll just go and rip them out as we come in,
You should.
But it bothers me. I've been trying. You've been coming down Parade Street lately?
Yes.
It's starting to turn into
garbage dump.
Yeah, I mean, you got people parking all over the place on the sidewalks.
Same thing down from Mercyhurst.
Huh?
It's the same thing down from Mercyhurst.
Yeah, and it's getting to be
on Reed Street, on Plum Street.
I can't get our people to get. They do it for a short time, but I mean, we had the police in there last week, and already today it's only Monday, and we're back again.
Oh, sure.
And I'm going, is this what we want? We want visual blight? There's all kinds of blight.
Well, you know what you should do? You should make a call to the post office down there, too, and tell these postal deliverers, do not park so close to the fire hydrants.
Yeah, you'd be surprised if you watch. I have a camera that has the best shots of who parks in front of them.
Post office.
It's an interesting thing. It's
disgusting.
It's believe it or not, it's police cars, park.
Some of them.
Parking authority cars.
Well, you see police cars double parked right in front of City Hall.
Yeah, and it's come on, you got to lead by example, okay?
That's true, but
you really do.
The thing with the post office, just because it says U.S. Post Office, it doesn't give them a right of way.
No, it doesn't.
When they're going to work, they fly like crazy. I mean, to deliver.
I've been watching 38th Street. It's been interesting.
Coming back, they're like a turtle. It's between a turtle and a hare.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But, so I made a mistake last week when I told you what the place going in. That Kmart is full. It's still operating, so it must be out in Harbor Creek area.
Oh, you talking about the one on 26th Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was up there getting my mother's prescription.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, they may go out someday. It's all up to Sears.
Yes, that's true.
Sears is running the show. It's not about, making money or not, but yeah, the one in Harbor Creek is the one in question.
That's what I think is going to go. And it's good to see Sheets is going to build down there on 38th and Liberty.
Yep. Well, when we get together, I'll tell you a couple other things they were talking about once.
Well, yes. But
yeah, and we have to start in the city being very. I mean, why aren't we targeting Costco or Sheets or any of these companies that are out there? We need to be targeting them. Even some of the like Wegmans or any of them. Why won't they come in the city?
That's true. I noticed something about Wegmans. I was out in the west side there.
Yeah.
Up on the south, up in Kearsarge, that area. The Wegmans out that way west, the prices are higher.
It's probably they charge where they can,
That's true, and it's a great thing that we should target people that come in, taxable units. So there's where you got your chamber and your redevelopment authority and everything else. They're not doing their job. Just like they had that hearing there with the people. It was last week to create jobs.
Yeah.
And 95%, they're saying the blacks are mistreated here. They don't want to go to work because the starting pay and all that is cheaper than what they're getting on welfare.
And that could be, that could well be why, when you look at our economy, so many people working 2 and 3 jobs.
True.
And none of them get health insurance at all.
Well, health insurance is a very expensive deal.
Well, I mean, I knew a lot of people, and one person very much in my family, who was in a tough bind, and they were working 3 and 4 jobs, but none of them would allow that person to work full time. So the insurance was unavailable. You're right. We have to in this country come up with a way that we have an affordable health insurance. Especially if you're willing to work.
That's true. And of course, you see CVS wants to buy Aetna.
Yeah.
$69 billion. So that tells you where all the money is going. It's going to the drug cartels.
Oh. You know what? When you look at the amount of money that's paid on drugs, and you look at, well, if you read magazines, you can pick up the same drugs in Canada cheaper.
True, but you get too many of that, they'll come and slap you down.
Yeah, and you're saying, well, how can they do it there, but they're penalizing Americans, you know?
Well, just like you were talking about the Alaskan pipeline. You know where all that oil goes?
Where?
Canada. It doesn't come to the U.S. So it's damned if you do and damned if you don't.
A few years ago, we did a study on drugs, and it was utterly amazing about, you know, why is the same drug in the United States made here, cheaper in Canada?
Well, true. You know, when I was in the hospital, I asked for an itemized bill. They didn't want to give it to me.
No, why they have to, but...
No, they have to. But I got it, and you'd be surprised what we were paying for drugs that you got 2-3 times a day, where you're paying $5-10 for a pill.
Yep, and they'll call that the price of delivery.
That's true.
You know, they'll say, well, you know, we have to charge you... What's that, the famous catchphrase now, you know, we have to charge you for the pharmacist that looked at it, the nurse that delivered it.
That and your doctor and all that.
Yep, and you know what? What's crazy, when I got my bill one time, as I looked it over, you'd be surprised what you're billed for that you don't remember.
Right. Doctor sticks his head in. How you doing? That's $125.
Right. Or else they charge you for an extra room, extra day, or you look and things don't line up and they go, oops, you caught me. Well, you think of all those little errors. I
was transferred to 4 different rooms in the same hospital, and each time I transferred to another room, they rechecked the diphtheria. Why is your hospital that dirty?
Well, I tell you, all you have to do is, it's the old joke about, I remember a businessman told me, if you can take an ounce of popcorn out of the box and you multiply that 1,000 times, you know.
That's true. So, well, you have a good day. At least we got rid of all those giant management. Maybe we'll get Eli to go manage the team.
Oh, you mean the Giants?
They cleaned house today. They got rid of McAdoo. They got rid of the other guy. So, and of course, the Browns and the Giants are going to be fighting for the first pick.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, is that an honor or what? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, I just hope the Browns go for something other than a quarterback.
Why?
Well, they go for quarterbacks and they've all fizzled out.
Well, they didn't pick the ones they had on the board when they should have.
That's true.
They don't have a judge of talent. I mean, what do you...
Well, I don't know. I recall the old Brown days when they were the rulers of the beast.
You're right. You know, I can remember, let's see, who was it? Pittsburgh Steelers gave up on Johnny Unitas.
Yes.
And the Colts found him playing sandlot football.
Yeah, he went to Baltimore.
They found him playing sandlot football. That's how Paul Brown used to be, you know.
Yeah. Now, they don't want to spend. Well, look at the Steelers now. They're in their glory. The Penguins are in their glory.
All things end, though.
That's right. I was just going to say, you better enjoy it while you can. So have a great day.
See you, John. Well, I think I saw DJ come in, but he's probably hiding back there. But, yeah, getting back to our old grocery store, I think it's a good idea, and I think if we're serious about developing the downtown as a residential area also, I think we do need a grocery store, much like I've seen some in Chicago and New York. So it's not unusual. And speak of the devil, what's those state troopers doing out there? That you do, right?
That was my escort.
Here, I'll move this over so...
Well, what we want to do is we want to get this away from the phone.
There you go. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Cash.
What's up?
You're going to have to keep John a little bit under control. 25 minutes was his time on phone.
Oh, yeah, it's been kind of a quiet day. I don't have my timekeeper here.
I wasn't here to keep time. Now I'm here.
Well, I want to find out when you and I can get together. I want to see this plan that you talk about, the war room and that. With my visual impairment, I can't read it darn thing.
Well, which plan do you want to see? You mean the comprehensive plan, or?
Yeah, I want to see what's in that for what you plan on this.
Oh, you mean the one that Buki came up with?
Well, I think that's what he said came up with.
Well, that's the plan that they talk about in the paper, where he envisions what to do with the city.
Well, I know what it is. I just need to have somebody go over it with me and tell me what's in that, because it's not audible. It's all visual, and somebody with visual impairment or blindness can't read that thing.
Yeah, that's the trouble with that. It's
So I need to have somebody at least highlight it, maybe tell me what some of the plans are, and so I have an idea what this city is going to try to do if I'm going to be part of this city.
Well, regardless of what the Times News said, we are planning to have some rollout into the neighborhoods, and I'm sure with the new president coming on board, whoever that will be, they will follow through with what I hoped we could do was start the process, so we will become the neighborhoods. And I think that's,
But I don't even think in my neighborhood where I'm at, there's even a neighborhood watch.
No, there isn't, but everybody is in the plan.
So
I'm trying to think how they got you classified. You're probably not in what they call Mercyhurst. The plan was laid out with areas. I'm trying to think how. I'll have to look on the book again, see where you are. You might be Weigeltown or somewhere, They had different areas of the city marked out, each one with their own issues and their own problems,
Is there an electronic version that
there is, but
we could,
if you can't see.
well, there's like that magnifier he has, and if we could get him a copy of that.
I think it's on I'll check. I believe it's on the city website.
Okay.
And if it isn't, it's somewhere. Either the Times has it or one of the TV stations.
Yeah, Doc, maybe you could pull that up in your magnifier.
Oh, you have a magnifier?
You large print to do that, so.
What do you
Just print?
Yeah, I have to get it a little larger print.
Oh, okay. I thought that was hooked up to your computer.
What's he having on?
Now,
You can put a thing on it.
Oh,
and
underneath
blow
it.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I could give him a book, and
We'll get you the book.
Yeah, you could be glad to look at that book. You could keep it if you wanted.
okay, well, I'm interested in seeing what it's all about, what it's going to be all about.
Yeah, it's basically a long-range plan about how we envision the city, how we intend to bring it back. So it's like, how do you deal with blight? But it's also a very costly plan.
I understand that.
$650 million over 10 years.
I've been listening to you guys, and even the city hall meetings, the council meetings, to see what's going on. The only other thing too, what came up this weekend, I was doing one of my jobs and talking to a lawyer, and he was wondering when the city has events such as the Erie Delights. I know you have an event department in the city hall.
Right.
For event permits. Mm-hmm. When they issue those permits, do they ascertain that the people who are putting on the event have proper insurance coverage for, say, accidents that occur during that event?
Yeah, they're supposed to. Actually, they're even when we deal with what they call, if you heard me in the past talk about business easements where you see the chairs and tables out on the sidewalk. You've seen that, right?
Right, yeah, I've seen them, but...
Yeah, and that's the same thing. We want them to provide insurance, and the name of the city goes on their plan for that easement or that event. In other words, if you have the event, the way I understand it, maybe I'll try to get Mr. Rocco to give me a quick tutorial on it. You have to provide, they talk about security, they talk about insurance, and all the issues, and the various licenses and permits. So, yes, I do believe they do address the issue of liability.
Okay.
Now, if the city goes along with the dock, okay, we could be the one that provides the insurance. I'm not sure what the Delights, whether that's part of the downtown improvement district or a joint operation. Okay.
Either way.
Yeah, if it's under the city plan, like if we have an event, then the liability, I believe, is our liability.
Okay, does that pertain to even if the people you have working here are independent contractors?
What do you mean? Like, I think I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, the event, when you have someone that comes in, like that for Erie Delights there.
Right.
A person is considered to be an independent contractor.
Correct.
He's not hired by the city, even though you pay to perform.
Yeah, and that is probably you know what, I have to check on that,
He's an independent contractor, and if he does not have his own insurance policy to cover it for incidents of
they won't hire you.
Injury, you think the city could be held liable, and you might be going to want to see it shocked by a lawsuit.
Well, usually I think I know what you're aiming at, and I was going to ask you about that, but
I know when I do mine, I'm covered that way. It costs me about $300 a year to do that.
But that's really, here's the thing. That would be up to the... Now, see, I don't know who puts on the lights. I know that it may be a joint operation. I've never checked into it directly. It could be the city and downtown improvement district.
You're just concerned for the safety of the city.
Who hires... is a contract with... are you permitted to tell me who the contract's with?
Well, see, they don't draw a contract. That's the problem. They hire you... at least whenever I did the function for the city that way, I never issued a contract.
Who are you dealing with, though?
And the contractor.
Were you dealing with the city or the DID?
Right with, the partnership. So.
You mean the downtown improvement?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I would think that's their liability, but I'll give you an example. My daughter was a dancer, a ballet dancer.
Right.
She was considered independent. She didn't work for the company, and they did that on purpose,
Huh?
And that relieved them of what do you call it? Having to pay, it's different things.
Right. Even income tax wise.
Yeah, and so I think I'll check into that, but I saw Mr. Rocco earlier. I'll ask him about that, but to my knowledge, they do address the issue of insurance.
The lawyer's the one that brought it up to me because, I do the law club too.
Yeah. What would probably happen if something happened, everybody would be drawn in a class action.
No, that's just it. I don't want to see it happen, but...
Yeah. Well,
in the past, you never have to worry because I always...
I don't want to say too much because people will know what we're talking about. But aren't there some clearances, too, that you're supposed to have?
Yep, I get nationwide is what everyone what I do requires an independent nationwide background.
Yeah, they don't check that when you...
No.
Huh?
I give every one of them that I do a copy of it.
You show them, right?
Huh?
Because it's almost the same as, when you deal with... I can't say too much because you know where this is heading. Yeah, this will disclose too much if there's like little ears out there, but... I'll try to check in for you on that.
Yeah.
I'll ask our guy here.
In the line of work I do, by law, but you're supposed to have your own independently done one. And actually, that's how when you become a bona fide member of a group for what I do.
Well, when you think about it, it is a giant leap of faith. So
Oh, yeah.
You better make sure what you're doing is. It's a different world today than what it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It's easy enough to have a problem from that, see?
Oh, yeah.
They require nationwide because you might get a clearance check in Pennsylvania, but maybe you did something over in Ohio and Ohio had you on the record, see?
That's a problem they have everywhere, even with... I think with teachers, though, I think they do a nationwide. I'm not positive.
It works. It pays to do it nationwide because that's done through the FBI.
Yep.
It takes about 3 days for me to make sure my clearance comes through okay, and it has been. So I have no problem with it. But the thing is that I always encourage whoever is employing people of my nature to be sure that they have proper credentials, clearance check as well as an insurance policy against if they damage something, even in the house,
Yep, I did notice the absence of somebody, so that's why I was going to ask you.
Well...
don't you talk about it now,
we got to get together. You always say you want to, but you never seem to stop by. So.
I very rarely have any free time in life.
I'm going to drag him over there, Doc.
Well,
my free time is so limited that... My wife said the same thing. She never sees me.
Down for a cup of coffee and a donut. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we'll talk about it more off the air, but just wanted to let you know I was concerned about the city being sure that they do their...
I think I know where you're heading, so I don't want to say too much, but I think I know where you're coming from.
No, that's all right. I'm just, I thought, after the lawyer talked to me about it, I got thinking, gee, I wonder if the city does cover itself that way. So,
Well,
we'll talk more later.
yeah, no problem.
You know, I can fill you in.
Yeah,
I actually know what's going on.
Oh, okay. I was curious when I.
Yeah, we can talk later.
But it brings up issues that.
Yeah.
When you have public events or anything.
Oh yeah, it's like with us when we do Celebrate Erie and we record a band, we have to make sure ahead of time that we have all of the clearances and all the permits and everything so that we could record that music and replay it. Which we've been pretty lucky every year, except for one band. We've been able to actually play all of them.
It's amazing. Like when I was, volunteers, we've had many programs over the years that had to be terminated.
Yeah.
Because of issues, legal issues.
Yeah.
They're just too insurmountable that, and yes, there are things there, some are insurmountable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got a question.
Yeah.
You know that train track that goes under State Street right here at the Bayfront Connector?
Yeah.
Is that ever used? Do they ever bring trains down that for anything? Do they ever?
I thought they said it was abandoned, but I'm not positive. However, it's not a big secret, but one of the plans that I was mentioning earlier was that when they do the realignment of State Street and the Bayfront,
right.
One of the theories is, because the one gentleman called in and said, why don't they tunnel under, where was it he wanted a tunnel? Under a Green Garden.
Yeah.
And I said, well, good luck on that because tunnels are expensive.
Yeah.
And, one time they talked about tunneling Powell Avenue under the runway.
Right.
911 ended that. Well, they're afraid that Erie's not a major airport, but it could be in time of disaster.
Right.
If they took out 3 other major airports.
Yeah.
Or you had to land equipment,
Right.
It has a long runway, but, you don't want to bring things up, but something could happen, and a tunnel is a very bad idea.
Yeah.
And it's a good idea, but not for security.
Right.
And that's why they're getting away from it. Like even big city airports, I think Chicago has a tunnel underneath O'Hare, and I think there's a couple others around. Roanoke has one.
Yeah.
When they made a longer runway, they bridged 2 mountains by putting a thing through a tunnel.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it filled in over it,
Yeah, but my Colorado friend who was here last week came up with the idea that we could use that as some sort of a walkway, or
Well, they're actually talking about maybe using that.
Yeah.
As if you want to pass straight through from east to west.
Right.
It's a possibility they could use that for traffic underneath.
Oh, so that would be a continual lane, and then if you want
to
go
top, going north to south, they would probably put a roundabout.
That would, yeah.
But
I still hope that, I hope that happens.
What they're looking at, though, is cost.
Yeah.
I mean, these things are all in the design phase. I mean, It's been pointed out that to go, one of the big problems they have is linking the waterfront with the downtown district.
Yeah.
That Bayfront Road is like a giant no man's land if you're walking.
It is.
So they're figuring how do we shrink it, make it pedestrian friendly, yet not destroy the traffic flow. That's the $1 million question.
Maybe just a small tunnel underneath the Bayfront connector for walkers.
Well, you already got the railroad already has it down there,
Yeah.
And
but I mean, how can you get from the north side to the south side of that road without crossing traffic? I don't think there is an actual.
No, that's why they're talking about the roundabout on the top half.
Right, right.
Because one of the big problems they have is the busy traffic is like 2 times of the day, and it's like a giant mess down there. So they're thinking that one of the things they're thinking of is a controlled roundabout.
Yeah. No, I'd like to see the plans.
With an expanded ramp going down with more lanes
I like the idea of turning that tunnel into just a constant pass-through. That would be a really neat idea.
But, it costs.
If they could make it work.
It's all going to be about money.
It's all about money, but sometimes you gotta spend money to make money, they say. So you gotta spend money to fix a problem.
You're dealing with the state, though, where you can't even pass a budget right now.
That's true.
Right? You can't get them to agree to disagree.
This is true.
I mean, they told us they tossed a figure at us, and they said, that's all you got. Now, every time you look at that money, it's the same argument you have McBride. You know, there's a set amount of money that's been appropriated.
Yeah.
The longer you delay, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that people and cost of labor, the cost of utilities, the cost of materials goes up.
Everything goes up.
So, I mean, you know, you start out with, I can remember when they gave money for the convention center. They said, oh, you know, to do the arena.
Yeah.
Well, when they screwed up, they had to redesign it. Well, all of a sudden,
yeah,
you got less for your dollar.
Right.
And then when the delay comes in, and by the time you actually put shovel to dirt,
yeah,
and brick to mortar, you know, now you're talking about now you're further down the line.
Yeah.
And you got less money, you know, unless they're willing to put more in there. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they say, that's it. You got $40 million, that's all you got. Yeah.
Well, you got to work with what you get then, I guess.
You know, you hope they put escalators in there, but it depends if they want the project done or they just want to, you know, here's $22 million or here's $40 million, here's $50 million, you know.
I want an enclosed walkway over the Bayfront connector with escalators, just like in Vegas.
Well, they talked about, they did actually talk about, they talked about pedestrian bridges, which the one Nick Scott project is talking about building.
Good.
And there's hope that there'll be one on the west side of the Bayfront.
Okay.
They talked about them rather than having people cross the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Have walkways.
Even something to get over to the library. If you get over there, at least there's ways to get over.
And because of the weather, escalators get to be.
Yeah, I was kidding about.
Well, don't kid. You could do it. I mean, you'd have to probably enclose them.
You been to Vegas?
No.
They got them. They're out in the open, 24/7.
But you got to remember, though,
their weather is fantastic.
If you know, here you're going to have to get a unit that can take the cold.
Yeah.
You're going to have to keep it covered.
Yeah.
You know, you probably have to have like a walkway coming down.
Yep.
There's been all kind. There was one plan where they were going to use a business where Kennedy was now. They were going to build a building that was taller.
Yeah.
You could access the roof. Don't laugh. You could.
I'm not laughing.
You could walk onto the roof from the top of the bluff.
Yeah.
And they would have a public elevator built into the project that would take you down. Kind of like what's in the convention center where you have this. There's a public elevator and walkway that takes you over the channel.
That's cool.
Because they were talking about, if you know what I'm talking about, where the hotels are, the one hotel is from the other hotel.
Right.
There's like a canal going through there.
Yeah.
One of the things they were going to do once was build a walkway underneath the water. And they looked at that and they said, well, it was costly.
I'm not really laughing because I would think that would be one of the coolest things ever.
Well, what they did was they were planning to showcase like the nautical life, but there's a lot of crap down in that at the bottom too, you know.
Not so much life as much muck.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. But the idea of a covered walkway, you know, got them. It's kind of like the Chesapeake Bay Bridge where you go, you know.
Yeah.
They had to come up with, because you got boats that go through there.
Right.
And they draw a lot of draft.
Yeah.
You know, the tunnel would have to, you know, be deep.
Yeah.
The other problem was people, why is that bridge so high?
Yeah.
Well, you got sailboats.
Sailboats.
And you have to have margin of error. I mean, some of these sailboats got some pretty good mass on them.
Yeah. You got to do that, and you got to think about what happens if somebody accidentally leaves their anchor down and they go and try to drive across the tunnel that they want to put in.
Yeah.
So you gotta take some precautions.
Yeah, there were all kinds of things they looked at, but at the end of the day, they figured the overhead was the best way. You know, it gives you a nice view up there, but you know, it has to be able to clear. If you look at it, it has lights on there for nautical use.
Yeah.
Those aren't just for
right.
You know, those are for boats going through the channel. You know.
I can't remember. Green is left or right?
Good question.
Green's on one side, red's on the other side.
And I think they switch on each side.
One's called.
It's so you have traffic control, like
one's port and
port
one's
and lee or starboard.
Port and starboard, and then there's forward and aft. But I don't know.
But I think the lights are designed to keep you on one.
Yeah.
You have to go to one side and the other side. So
like green is the left side of the channel, red's the right. So if you're
kind of like
close
a traffic cop directing you.
If you're going left too far to the green, you got to get over because there's going to be traffic coming at you. But
any other questions you got there?
No, but I just came up with a name for the Christmas light show that we are going to get on Presque Isle. We're going to make it happen before I leave this state.
Good luck with the state. I want to see this happen.
I'm doing it. I'm going to go talk to my boy Pat Harkins, and we're going to make this
That'd
happen.
be interesting. You know what you could do, though?
Yeah.
If you could do it in conjunction with the Presque Isle Advisory Group,
Yeah.
probably could be what do you call it, a money maker for them too, right?
Advisory group?
Well, there's one out there that 5 minutes. They give concerts and stuff on the waterfront.
It's actually more like 15 because I know you started 10 minutes late.
No, we didn't. 5 minutes. That's all.
10.
Do you remember the? We're already past a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay.
You know how they have the
It's your
Presque
channel.
Isle Days down there?
Yeah.
And then they have a concert.
Yeah.
Usually have a named group once in a while.
Right.
That's all to raise money and awareness for the peninsula improvements.
Right.
You could you wouldn't have to open up the whole park, let's say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But you could do it at. I'm trying to think if you wanted to do it walking, the best area would be down around probably the Misery Bay.
I think you could do both. You could have a congested spot where there's more for people that do the walking and looking around. And yeah, that's that spot where they have the walkway and they have like the big pavilion. That would be fantastic to have stuff everywhere you could look in every direction.
I was in one park that was in Allentown. They had a rose garden.
Yeah.
And they had the ability to drive through there and look at the roses. Well, in the winter, they would take that and they would put up static ground displays,
Yeah.
And you go through there and they had lights and the trees were lighted.
Oh, yeah.
And you paid like a little fee to,
That's kind of what they do with Ogilvy, West Virginia.
Yeah.
It's a light show. It's usually like.
Well, I was in another one down there that somebody had on their private land.
Yeah.
And it's like the biggest in America. Well, everybody's got the biggest in America.
Sure.
But this is pretty big. As you come down the hill, you look, you go, oh my God, it's like this whole farm was like
That would be
lit up from stem to stern and he had built outbuildings there that, places for pictures with Santa and chocolate and all this stuff, hot chocolate, a place to eat, But, and then when they do steel stacks in Bethlehem,
Yeah.
you go inside there and drive around and they have, this is interesting. I'd like to see us do this. What do they call that? Kinder something. They had an area of Bethlehem, looked like old Germany, with all of these little booths and tents and stuff, and they were selling different goods and people. It was like a nice time, it was like a little marketplace.
If this is what people want, then this is what we need.
Well,
to
you have
work
to.
on.
It has to be somebody has to think they can make money at it.
Well, we have no more industry, so we have to make money at the touristy stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that's something that you look at. Now, luckily, Bethlehem had an area they could do this.
Yeah.
Erie, it's a little tougher, but you'd have to be creative.
We could be creative. What about
the park would be probably
Presque Isle would be great. We still got what was that the paper plant? What was Hammermill? I keep thinking International Paper. It's a different.
But I think
we have big chunks of land that we could do this.
But these light up rides, I thought the other day, even if you want to do it on a walking way, Frontier Park would be nice.
How about even GE with all the land they have, especially with them shipping a lot of the work out, they're going to have land available.
If they let you do it,
Oh, yeah.
But how about Frontier Park? Parking would be an issue,
Park
but
would be
we could get around it because we got these.
We get around it for blues and jazz, so there wouldn't really be a problem.
Oh yeah, I mean you could do it, and then you have people. You go down in there, walk around.
Yeah.
Things like that are interesting. We tried it once with the winter carnivals.
Yeah.
They didn't have much luck at it, but
Why is that?
in the zoo.
Why do you think that would be? Why did we not have luck with it? Because the winter carnival would be.
A lot of times it didn't snow, and a lot of events had to be canceled.
Oh, you mean like right now? Like we're
yeah,
partway into.
You have
we're
a
almost
problem
at Christmas, and it's like.
When do you like years ago we had more ice and snow.
Yeah.
We've had changes. I know people don't want to admit it, but it has changed. There were times when we could plan on snow, and they said, when do you do it? Do you do it after Christmas?
We are going to talk to Nick Scott about this, and we'll borrow his snowmakers.
Nick, you know where Nick could do it? Nick could do it on his Scott Development Project.
Oh, we could do it over.
Well, he's got the ability.
Far away.
Well, he's got the ability even if he does a project like he wants to.
Yeah.
He's got some park areas in there.
Really.
And you could do that in conjunction with the GAF property. which is going to have some of the same,
Yeah.
Public, what do you call it, park in there?
As long as we have like a walkway that everybody could walk through and check
Or
everything
you
out.
have, you come up with a shuttle bus, take you from one site to the other.
Yeah.
And you know what I'd like to see? We've never done it lately. Sleigh rides through downtown.
There you go. We had Erie Rickshaw that, they got rid of them, but we could have Erie sleigh rides.
Don't ask me why they got rid of them.
I'm not asking. I'm just saying.
It was before my time.
We could have different, unique, cool stuff like that. All you have to do is go out there. We could get people to sponsor stuff. There's so many businesses that would do that.
I'd like to see horse rides through downtown.
Horse rides, sleigh rides.
I don't know if I don't know how.
I don't know. Maybe this group that you want to get together, this meeting of the minds, if you ever get the war room back together, maybe that's the kind of thing you could bring up with them. Because
we have a new administration coming.
Yes.
New council.
Yes.
New thought process.
Yes. Yes.
Of course, we're losing.
We're losing some people from the city, yes. And yes, that includes me, but I wasn't very helpful. I want to be helpful before I go.
But see, you've learned to be. You've changed.
I've changed.
Yes, you have. Okay, and
we're done.
Is that it?
We're pretty well done. Yeah, we went over, but we started late, and I was a half an hour late. I just got off the road.
That's true.
I just drove back from Gettysburg. I drove straight from Gettysburg through Pittsburgh to here, visiting friends.
Ah.
Yeah. So here I am.
I love Gettysburg. I have to go down sometime with you.
I'm on my third energy drink, and I'm about to.
I love Gettysburg, the battlefield.
I just drove through there. Yes, it's very nice. Well, it looks nice now.
Do you want to say adios or?
Adios, muchachos. That's all I got.
We'll have to do get 3 horses and.
The 3 amigos. Good night, Erie. I forgot to take this.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.